May School Board meeting. If you're able, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Moving along, we need a motion, or I will entertain a motion at least, to adopt tonight's agenda.
I will make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Call to the public. Ms. Dixon, do we have any cards? Okay. Seeing none, we will go on to our information and discussion items. First up is, my things stuck together, the Chino Valley Education Foundation update, and I believe that is Pastor Ballard.
It's just Wayne.
Okay, just
It's okay. Good evening, board. It is so good to see you. Thank you for the opportunity for us to come and share what's going on with the Chino Valley Education Foundation, the best kept secret in Chino Valley. And one of the great things about it is I have been the president of the board for the last several years, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come in and just let you know some of the amazing things that we've been able to do as the foundation has grown over the last couple of years. A few things to let you know who is the Chino Valley Education Foundation. We are a 501c3 Arizona qualifying charitable organization. One of the things that means, it is so important, the word we try to get out is you can actually double the tax credit that you give. Instead of paying the state of Arizona, you can give it to the Chino Valley Education Foundation and double it because of the amount of support that we give to low income and basic needs that we provide through our foundation. And so the tax credit, you're eligible in addition to what they give to the school district. Married couple, $400, you can double that to $800 and so on. And maybe I've got the 400, 800, 600, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a great thing. And you can check us out on our website, CV Ed Foundation. The mission is really simple. Our job is to support student teachers and the families of Chino Valley School District. And we are take that very seriously. There's a lot that we do for all three of those elements. We're going to run through those quickly tonight because I know you'd like to spend 20 minutes with this. Accomplished a lot of projects throughout the year. Let's go through some. One of the first ones we do is the staff welcome back event. We always do that. The staff love getting their hats every year from us. We provide hats for all of the staff, including the entirety of the teachers, administration, those who work with the Sodexo, anyone who is employed by the school district is part of that. And that is something that we do. We also work with Lori Marley and the homeless program here at the school. We provide the student supply giveaway that is operated out of the gym, backpacks, clothing, water supplies, school supplies. It is an amazing event that Lori Marley pulls off every year. One of the new things in the last 2 years is we have scholarships for Chino Valley High School seniors and alumni. This year, we will be awarding over $50,000 through the scholarships that have come about. We used to have only the Denise Pearson Scholarship. That has actually been expanding over the last 2 years, and we have been able to give a lot of significant scholarships to support the high school seniors and alumni here at the school. We're also the clearinghouse for the Hungry Kids Project and the Chino Valley Food Neighbors Project. Hungry Kids Project, just to give you an update, as of April the 5th, we have provided food for weekend bags for kids, including Mingus Springs Charter School. With them and our district, we provide about 390 bags of food every week for students in Chino Valley. And it's an amazing process. We estimate that it's been over 70,000 meals that have been provided just in this school year, August through April. And so it'll be a much higher number by the time we complete that. We also did 127 bags of hope over the Christmas break, where we invited individuals and businesses to provide food for the students over the Christmas break, because we know food insecurity is a big deal during that time as well. Lori Marley arranged a stocking stuffer and gift event that was hosted at Grace Church, interestingly. Over 800 of students here in the school district benefited from this. And it was just an amazing event. You can see bicycles, backpacks, all kinds of things. Every kid got a stocking and got to celebrate the holidays with that. There are other projects that we are involved with as well. We have been working with the track team this year with the new track. Yay! Go, Mr. Scholl with the track. We're so excited about that. That was amazing. But we have had a fundraiser for the Adopt a Hurdle process, and I think it was around $4,000 that has been raised through that. We have quarterly staff support events. In fact, one of our big staff events that we do was just this last week, April 25th. We provided a meal for all of the staff here at the school district from the Education Foundation. We also do student support for athletics and field trips. We have students who can't pay the pay to play, or they have trouble when they go traveling. They don't have money for meals. We provide gift cards that they can use at Subway and other places. Some of them can't afford cleats or other materials that they need. So we do that for athletics and field trips as well. And then finally, of course, we have the assistance with scholarship and college applications. So the Chino Valley Education Foundation is doing a lot. We want to support you. We're cheering for you. We believe you're doing. We're so grateful for the school board and how we are impacting kids and teachers and families. And we just want to walk hand in hand with you in that process. So thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me come in and have just a few moments of your meeting. Is there anything you want to know from me?
If I may say, we are the ones that should be thanking you.
Oh,
I agree.
let me tell you, it's thank you for that. We have about 10 people on our board right now. There is composed of some administrators, community members, business leaders in our community, and they are so excited about partnering with you and changing the lives of these students. So thank you.
Madam President, real quick, just as a point of history, the Ed Foundation actually got its seed money from the Chino Valley Senior Foundation that used to provide meals on Fridays that folded, and they gave the money to start this. So it's our oldest residents in Chino Valley helping out some of our youngest residents in Chino Valley, which is kind of exciting.
Absolutely. And it's an amazing process. Every Thursday morning, if you have an opportunity on a Thursday morning during the school year, come join us at Heritage Middle School. If you go to the east door over there by the gymnasium, you'll see a group of people in one of the classrooms there that the district provides for us for the Hungry Kids Project. And you can come feel some meal bags for us that we send home with the kids, and you can see that entire process. And it is quite the adventure.
Thank you
That's
so much.
wonderful.
Thank
Anything
you.
else? This side?
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Item 6B is our Disneyland teacher workshop update, and that looks like it's giving you George. Hello.
The Disney Imagination Campus sponsored a contest for teachers, and you had to write an essay. And the prompt was, describe an example where you brought wonder, creativity, and imagination to life in your curriculum that inspires students in new ways. So I wrote an essay. It was a limit of 2,500, 7,900 applicants, and I was one of the lucky 100 that won.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
yeah, I just get really emotional because it makes me very happy. But it was a trip for 3 nights and 2 days. And they put us up at the Grand Californian, so I don't know if anybody is familiar with that. That's like the fancy hotel that a teacher could never afford to stay at. And, they gave us 2 park hoppers for me and a travel companion, which was my daughter. And then they did workshops for us that we learned how like teamwork and STEM projects and innovation, like how to design a theme park or how to design a roller coaster using technology to put things together. And they just really spoiled us. We had a really nice breakfast. Will you put up the group picture or the pictures? I brought a few pictures to show you guys. So at the arrival, the arrival thing there at the hotel is very nice. Then we took a group picture with all 100 teachers. And there's all of us. And purposely placed myself right behind Minnie Mouse there, but I don't know if you could see me or not. And then to culminate, they had a small cavalcade, which all the teachers were in. And that was like, everyone was cheering and so happy for us. And I have a couple pictures of. And then they ended it with a dinner that special guests came to, Mickey and Minnie and friends, and then they took us to see a special showing of World of Color that they said it all starts with one ripple, and it's where one person can make a difference, just like you do every day in your classroom. And I brought my essay. I don't know if you guys wanted to read it or not. I can hand it out to you, or I can read it if you would like.
Read it to us,
Okay.
please.
So I said, hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to Miss Tembridge's class where everyone is as welcome as can be. This is my 23rd year of teaching, with the last 10 being in kindergarten. I want my students to come to school each day and know that school is a fun, happy place to be. Imagination and curiosity are a big part of this. During reading groups, one group is always Mickey Mouse stations. One of the stations is always a sensory tub where students can use various fillers to explore and use imagination to learn letter names, sounds, and sight words. Students dig in white sand, which is snow, cereal that doubles as dog food. They like to eat the dog food. Dyed corn noodles and more. Kids can't keep their hands out of the bin, and most don't even know that they are learning. My students love to act out simple poems, songs, and stories. We act out 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. I bring in the comforter, doctor's coat, and phone. Everyone gets a turn to act out a part and practice being a good audience. Then students make finger puppets to take home to perform for their families. Another favorite is the gingerbread man. Students take turns being different characters and chasing the gingerbread man. A simple blue butcher paper becomes a river for the fox, and a drawer becomes an oven. Imagination makes this happen. This year we performed for other classes. One teacher's students loved watching it so much that she's going to start acting out stories with her class. Then the whole school gets in on the gingerbread man fun, and we go on a hunt for him, following the trail of glitter he leaves. We then celebrate finding him in the tree by eating the cookies he leaves for us. Last year, I culminated the year with a nursery rhyme performance for students' families. A colleague and I partnered up and performed Humpty Dumpty, Little Bo Peep, Little Boy Blue, and more. Families loved seeing their students perform. The best part is that a shy, quiet student might end up being the biggest shining star. Self-selection is a part of each of our school days. This means that students can choose what they want to do during this time. They are doctors, vets, and chefs. They are creating bridges and designing buildings. When students use their imaginations, they have new experiences and become more well-rounded learners.
Wonderful.
Any questions?
Can I do a quick question?
Yeah.
Are these 100 winners just from Arizona?
No, it was all across the nation.
So
but-
you're one of 100 in the country is what you're
Yes,
saying?
out of 100 in the country. There was 39 states represented. But Arizona did have a very high percent. There was 18 out of the 100 were from Arizona.
Wow.
So we have a lot of really creative, hardworking teachers in Arizona.
Yes, we are. I just have a comment. I always brag about how amazing our teachers are, and this is a prime example. Thank you for being a part of Chino Valley.
I know, it's pretty nice that from a teacher from a little town, Chino Valley can be honored like that.
I bet Mrs. Arndt was very jealous.
I think she was just happy.
I'm sure she was.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Thanks.
All right, item 6C, Yavapai County Education Foundation grant update. Amber? Is Amber coming, or are you coming?
Rob Lynch.
Well, I expect the teacher to
Sorry,
be
I
here,
saw
but
that.
I'm the.
Teacher is here.
There you are. You do not look like Amber Culkins. Sorry.
Is it Yavapai County Educational Foundation? Should be
No,
Rob
your name's
Lynch.
on here.
Okay.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm Mike Elligood. I'm the current president of the Yavapai County Education Foundation, and it's always a privilege to be at these throughout our county. It's a genuine pleasure for me always to come back here to Chino Valley. When they ask for volunteers, who'd like to go to Chino? It'll be me. I like coming up here. I like seeing my friends and so forth. We do two things, classroom mini grants. And in that case, we sort of complement what your own foundation does. We also publish Champions of Education every year. You should have a copy of this, or you will be getting a copy of this. And your teachers are, again, promptly highlighted. I'm always amazed and impressed with our educators throughout Yavapai County and up here in Chino. Many years ago, in a classic Clint Eastwood movie, when she plays a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant during the invasion of a small island in the Caribbean. He said there was an explanation of how he did something was, I adapted, I innovated, and I overcame. And your teachers do this every year. I'm always impressed with that. So thank you again for this opportunity. And with that, I'll turn it over to your teacher.
All right.
Rob Lynch.
Rob Lynch, not Amber Calkins, Heritage Middle School. So may I put this on the counter up here?
Please.
So originally, that was supposed to be a four-wheel vehicle that you could program and make move around, do some different stuff. And then I found out that the company was going out of business. So I adapted and overcame and got two Sphero bolts instead. And that doesn't look like very much, and I'm not getting Wi-Fi, so unfortunately I can't whiz bang you. But what is going on inside this polycarbonate shell, which by the way, it can go in water, you can go in paint, so you can draw and do artwork and stuff like that with it. It has a light sensor inside that'll tell you whether or not the light is on or how bright the light is. It actually has a sound sensor. It has a little screen that you can program that and turn it into, it's doing its best not to let you see it. Okay, so there it is. So I got two of those. One of the really cool things that I found on code.org, actually I was looking for something real quick that I could do with my CS2 students with these. And I'm supposed to be getting another one from Civil Air Patrol. They're supposed to be sending me one as well. There's a program where you can make one of them infected, so you can teach about viruses. So you put one of them in one corner of the room, you put the other two in the other corner of the room, you have them interact, and you tell the code on that one to be false, so it feels like it's infected. It has a system where it uses infrared technology to communicate with the other two, which also infects them. So then the students can find out exactly how close they can get to each other before all three of them become infected. They all change color to something different. They let out a little wailing voice sound because they're dying because they've gotten the virus. So the original intent and still intent is going to be to put these into the hands of my students. So we'll take a couple of students out in 6th grade next year every single day. The other kids will do their activity that they're doing on the computer that day. These kids will go to the back of the room. You can use these to play soccer. You can put a Solo cup over the top of them and tape a little straw to it, and they can joust with each other within confines of an area. With my older students then, with my 8th graders, you're already envisioning what it's going to be like with 6th graders. With the 8th graders, then we'll take them and give them a confined space that they have to operate within. If they go outside that confined space, then they have to sit in the middle and be bait for the other ones to go after them. When you're doing it, there's 3 different ways that you can interact with it. You can just move it around with your finger and drive it. You can put a Canva up, which lets you draw what you would like it to do. And then you just press go and it does the entire route that you just drew, or you can code it. So the intent is to let my 6th graders drive it with their fingers, 7th graders draw what they would like it to do, and then my 8th graders will do the more advanced coding and that kind of thing. So I am super appreciative to Yavapai County Educational Foundation. They did not buy the iPad. The iPad's a different grant, but they did buy me 2 of those, and every child that's had an opportunity to play with it is absolutely loving it.
Incredible.
That's great. Congratulations on the
Thank you.
grant. I wish it was like connecting to Wi-Fi because I'm really interested
Yes,
now.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
I
okay.
came in and it thought
Just
it
may have
was
to go
working.
to your
But yeah, we
classroom.
probably would accidentally drive it off the counter, but
Anything on this side?
No.
For Mr. Lynch, how about this side? Again, thank you so much and
Thank you.
congratulations.
I'm just looking at Wi-Fi networks.
Actually have a-
There's something that is.
All right, item 60 is our unified sports update. Ms. Ballard.
they're
We got a whole group of
us.
For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Jenda Ballard, and this is Lucy Swope. She and I have had the privilege and the honor of coaching and teaching unified sports for the last 10 years. So about this time, 10 years ago, the Chino Valley Board, School Board, District Board voted unanimously to start unified at the high school. So we are recipients of that blessing. So we just want to share really fast, let some of our students share two things. We were here to thank you because you approved that we got to go to Washington, D.C. for National Capitol Hill Day. And then we also got to go to Phoenix, the capital, to do Capitol Lawn Day. When I heard him say something about Little Chino, we are Little Chino, but we are mighty. All 50 states got to go to DC, 1 or 2 schools. We were the only school chosen from Arizona that got to represent Special Olympics Arizona in our high school. So that was really amazing. I'm gonna let them talk. Y'all can introduce yourselves and they each just take it away. I'll just be quiet.
Hi, I'm Logan Hawks. I'm a partner and I went to Capitol Hill Day in Washington, D.C. I think the coolest thing about this trip was getting to go to our nation's capital and getting to see all these government buildings that you see in your textbooks. But I don't think it really becomes real until it hits you. You're like, oh my gosh, this is an actual place. And then we got to meet with different representatives from Arizona. And I think it was really interesting because you get to actually know what's going on in your government and meet the people behind all the laws you're hearing about.
That's awesome. Good for you.
I am Marissa Holland. I'm a unified athlete. When I had the honor to go to Washington, D.C., one of the greatest impacts that got me to go, one of the best things that I got to experience there was also we got to go to a bunch of places to experience our history, see our presidents, and also a bunch of those things. One of the things that was gratefully impactful for me was talking to the representatives. At our first meeting, 2 people joined us for that, and by the end of it, one of them said, "You did better than most professionals." And that really stuck with me. And we got to meet with the CEO of Special Olympics, and we just had so much fun and a great time with that.
Congratulations, that's great.
I'm Sierra Scheibel. I'm a partner in Unified Sports, and I got to go to Phoenix and visit Ken Bennett, a senator, and I just advocated the importance of unified sports and Special Olympics with a small team. So yeah, and then we got to watch the meeting, and
We'll let you share the end of our trip in Phoenix.
I got to race Senator Bennett, like have an actual race on the front lawns,
Mhm.
and I'm very happy I won.
And he was in his suit and tie. That's a picture of him up there. So
I don't care if I
We're gonna
lose
show you a
any
video.
race in the future. That's the one race I give a crap about. So I'm very happy about that.
I have to just say that for all of them, no matter where, if we were at the DC trip or the one down in Arizona, I'm so proud of the way they represented Chino Valley High School and our whole district, and even the state of Arizona. The Special Olympics Arizona staff that traveled with us after our first meeting that you were talking about, they came out and they looked at me and they were like, "You picked the perfect 2." And I was like, yeah, they are. They did amazing. Even hearing Sierra share with Ken Bennett, at the very end of our meeting with him, we said, "Can we take a picture with you?" He's like, "Yes." and he opened up his office door. He said, "Follow me." And we all started running down the stairwell. He literally was running. We were trying to catch up. And he took us, this is a picture of, he took us down to the Senate floor, let us go on the Senate floor and took a picture with him. And then during that session, a few minutes later, he introduced all of us and he looked up at Marissa and he said, "I'm racing you on the Capitol lawn. Anybody that wants to be there, I challenge you." So the Senate president stood up and said, "I'm there." So I was really fearful that they were going to have to cancel because they were, in some big meeting and voting and everything. But he was a man of his word, and he came down, and yes, he raced in his, he took his coat off, but he left his dress shoes on and everything. So we're just going to show you a few pictures. This obviously is Washington, D.C. in front of the Capitol. We met with 9 different representatives or their staff. We did get to meet Mark Kelly. His staff, one of his staffers, when they shared their story, she was in tears. So they were like, wow, we did have an impact. But basically sharing the joy of Unified and the joy of Unified Sports, how it's changed us, how it's changed our school, and how it's changed our district. So I also loved watching them as we went to different offices. This is the lady on the left that they made cry. And that was Sydney. She was Mark Kelly's legislative assistant. So, but of everybody that was there, I would say I just loved watching them grow in their confidence. Every time we would go to a new office, I mean, by the end of the trip, I was like, man, they could tell anybody about Unified. And I said, I don't know if you remember this, we need to go to the school board and share with them because y'all could share with anybody about Unified. So that is just the amazing experience of watching them grow in that confidence, not only in themselves, but in what Unified stands for and in the Unified movement of inclusion. So I've got a few more pictures. This is when they got to meet Tim Shriver, the CEO of Special Olympics. Eunice Kinney Shriver, one of her children, who started Special Olympics across the country, across the world. I also wanted to just share, I think we've got the video. Oh, this is after she raced Ken Bennett on the Capitol lawn. And then this is, she was out in front from the get-go, you can see, but they raced down to that tree. And then I think we have the video. Here we go. Oh, man. I beat him good. My first. And all the Special Olympics Arizona staff was like, we got to make sure we're over there to watch this in video. So a super fun day and just an incredible experience. So we just want to say thank you for letting us have Unified and letting us, be a part of not only Special Olympics Arizona. This is the day that we went to the Capitol. This is, you can see Annika Van Orden's on the right, and she got to take from Heritage. She got to take a partner and an athlete as well. We all went together, the 8 of us, and just had a wonderful day sharing our love for Unified with the senators, with the representatives. Some of them don't even know what Unified Sports is, and just saying the funding that we receive is very much appreciated, and just keep it up. And they don't have I was amazed. They didn't have a problem saying, yeah, we're rural Arizona and we have to travel most of the time 2 hours to go someplace. So without that funding, it would be hard to do some of that. So we're blessed. And the trip that we took to DC, Special Olympics Arizona paid our plane trip. They paid for our hotels, all our meals. So, trip paid, expenses paid, but such a blessing. So do you have any questions for us?
I'm going to say it one more time. Thank you for representing us so well.
Well,
Thank you for letting us to go.
Absolutely.
And
When are
we're
you going again?
We don't know.
When's the next
We don't
trip?
know. We'll find out soon. But we were just this year recognized for a second time as a National Unified Banner School, and just presented our banner to our school last Thursday. So that was very exciting as well. So anyways, and we're super excited that Del Rio's going to have a PE teacher next year. So, yeah.
So I have one real serious question.
Oh, yeah.
Was Ken Bennett really winded Trying to
No, it was just a short sprint, so we told him to stretch before, so.
I don't think, we gave him a softball with all of our names on it, Chino Valley High School, and his secretary emailed me right away and said, he came back to the Senate floor and told everybody about y'all. And she said, we need pictures and we need video, and we're gonna put your picture, we're gonna blow it up and put it on his credenza behind his desk. So I'm like, he's not gonna forget Chino too fast, I don't think, so.
One of the parts about that story is when he was calling me out and on the audience, I remember yelling out, "I'll hold you to it."
Yeah, and you did, he did. Nicole just reminded me that for the first time in 10 years, I will try not to get too emotional, but at our banquet next week, we are going to get to give our unified athletes and partners varsity letters for the first time ever. So we've been talking about it for several years. Lucy and I have. We talked with Matt Dunn, our athletic director, and figured out what that looks like, because we do 7 sports in a year. It's not like we just do football. So how does that look like? You know, we don't want to say, well, just because you're in unified, you get a letter. We want them to actually earn it. So they've got to do at least 4 sports of those 7 in that year to get their varsity letter for that year. So next week we will be awarding about 25 varsity letters. So super duper excited. And I can't say who they are because some might be in this room. But anyways, that is super exciting to be able to do that. So yeah. Thank you again.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Thanks for Let's make sure I'm still in order. This doesn't feel good. Yes, we need a few more of these. Item 6E, superintendent's report.
So you have my report in front of you. We need to dig it out. Here we go. Teachridge update. We are currently working on the intergovernmental agreement that will allow us to get the $500,000 matching grant. So that should be going to the Coconino County Board of Supervisors, hopefully at their next meeting. We've been on a short timeline. Our attorney is currently looking at the IGA for approval, but that's moving forward. So we've been kind of ticking off the items that the Coconino County ESA County Schools Office is asking. They are the Coconino County ESA and Yapa County ESA are partners in this, and they are the fiscal agents. So we're working with them to make sure to secure the grant. If I recommend you driving by behind Del Rio if you haven't, to see all the work that's going on. They've basically leveled the property. They're working on underground utilities right now. They're working on septic.
Cool question I was going to ask. I noticed that there's a lot of utilities work going on, and I presume that's APS power and so on. Is that part of our cost, or are they doing that on their own?
That is all part of the grant or part of the contract.
Okay, so we're paying for the work that you see going on right out there, utilities.
I think the box you might be talking about in the parking lot at Del Rio,
Mhm.
right along the road, that's a different project. That's for the paving project. That's the only utilities that, with the big electrical box in the corner that I've seen.
So there's 2 things going on at Del Rio right now. There's the work that's going on. They're running some additional lines from the substation over on 1 West.
Right.
Down 1 West from, is it 1 North to 2 North?
Right.
And so that is all APS work, has nothing to do with us.
So that's what I was seeing. That's why I was wondering if that's an independent project,
Yeah.
not part of our cost.
Correct,
That's good news.
correct. The actual work on the property that they're doing underground utility work on right now, that they're putting in the underground utilities
Oh,
there.
yeah, I see the grading and everything on
Yes.
site. It's the stuff
That's our dime.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the roadway that's going on too.
Nothing to do with us.
Good.
Yes.
I mean, wonderful.
Actually, 6 months or so ago, you all approved actually deeding some of the property on that corner to APS so they could put that box on
Utility-
the
utility
easement. Yeah,
location,
yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
There's a lot of work going on, and it's more that we can have other people paying for. It's better.
And it's been, and if you ask Dr. Moody, he'll give you an earful of how inconvenient it's been. They have not necessarily been the best partners in provide, we have what, 800-900 kids coming out of that school at 3 o'clock, and they're stopping traffic and rerouting traffic. And so I'm sure that Dr. Mooney will be happy when it's over, which I think is going to be shortly.
And how about the paving, speaking of Dr. Moody, how about his paving his parking lot?
That is set for the summer right now, we believe. We got a set, or we should have close to a stamped set of plans that need to be approved by the town, and then our contractor will take care of
Okay,
that.
so it will happen before next fall.
I'm not gonna make any promises.
Okay. How many years has that same question been asked with the same answer?
We keep being told things that just don't happen, not intentionally, it's just how construction works out, so. Then we've been interviewed several times. We've been on CNN. We have Univision maybe coming next week to talk to one of our Spanish-speaking teachers. We've been on various news outlets, gotten a lot of good press from it. So that's been good. And we'll have more discussion about the policies and procedures on the renters later in the meeting. But we'll save that information for that point. We can answer more questions about that at that point. Strategic planning process. So an email went out today to the people on the list that is at your desk. These are people that, some names that I got from you, some names that I put on there, some people that have reached out to me. So we'll see what kind of interest we have. We have a couple of the teachers have already responded, just that they would like to participate, but June 1st isn't a good date. In talking with Julie Bacon, she would just like to see maybe 2 out of the 3 meetings would be okay. So we might be able to accommodate that, missing 1 meeting, but missing more than 1 is not necessarily something that we can work with. So again, just that went out today. Julie and I will work on reaching out to these people individually and to see if they'd be interested. If there are any other names that you'd like to give me, please let me know and I can send out that invitation. So, but these are all the names that you all gave to me so far. And I know I caught some of Annie's just by happenstance and things like that. So, and I know Cindy, you spoke to somebody on the list that has committed. So we'll hopefully have some good participation. There are the meetings on there, and this is for Karen also. This is a subcommittee of the board, so we need to treat it like we'll need to do posting and that kind of thing and take minutes and she won't be there to take minutes, but we'll identify somebody to do that. But this will all be posted, open meeting law. It will be subject to open meeting law. So.
Wait, so we attend these?
We don't have to.
Okay.
Correct.
My suggestion is that we at least attend the first one
Okay.
to introduce ourselves.
Okay.
So that they put some faces with names.
But since it is a subcommittee of the board, that's why it's subject to open
Okay,
meeting
right,
law.
okay.
Yeah.
And we won't have any say. So
Okay.
Yeah.
their
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
No voting, none of that stuff.
Okay.
Just kind of a soft posting kind of deal. Y'all may have heard about some water issues that we had. It kind of stems from on a Sunday evening. What day of the week was that? They hit the power pole. It was like a Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
It was a Monday.
Usually we shut down.
So it was a Monday. So on a Monday, Larry happened to hear it. Somebody ran into a power pole that's in front of the high school, knocked it over at about a 45-degree angle. We got word from APS that it may not be done in time for school to start, although it was, but maybe it was good we didn't have school because, so I called an at-home learning day because we anticipated not having internet also, not having electricity, not having internet, not having phones, that kind of thing. So that was just for the high school, had at-home learning. K-8 was all normal. We could work without phones, but they had at least water and that kind of stuff. So that was the first day. That was Tuesday. On Wednesday, we come to school and things were fine for about an hour and we ran out of water. And what happened was when that power pole went down, there was brownouts, there was power surges, knocked out a significant number of light bulbs, I think at the high school gym. I was in there last Thursday and I'd say about 40% of the bulbs are burned out because of that.
Power surge?
Yes. We've tried to order those, of course, like everything else. You can't get them very quickly. And so it's rather dim in there, but it's functional. And then on top of that, that brownout or power surge, whatever, did some damage to the pump controllers. So the pumps weren't working. We were running on the water that was in the tank. The tank ran dry. We ran out of water. We were able to fill that tank back up and have water. And so we've been working with Turner Pump to try to get things working and going. And so we are hobbling along. We aren't watering the landscaping inside the school. The fields are getting watered. That's a whole different system. But the landscaping inside the school, we're not watering to help preserve water, to make sure we have that for the kids. We have 9 school days left. That's what we need to get through. And so we're waiting on those 9 school days. And hopefully
Are you
get
still
going.
on porta potties?
No, no. We have water.
Okay.
We have water. There was some concern. People made some complaints to the health department. Health department came out and, we had porta potties, we had bathrooms available, we had hand washing stations, we had the drinking water available. And by the time that lunch happened, the inspector went into the kitchen, turned on the water, and the water ran. So we had water in time for lunch. So there was no health department violations that we were concerned with. And came up with we identified a plan with the person that if you don't have water, this is how we're gonna do lunch, with prepackaged stuff. So everything was fine there, and we're getting along. And then on top of that, we've had 2 significant water leaks with one in front by the cougar, that's statue in front of the school, and another one over by the band room that we're trying to repair. It's a 30-year-old water system that we're just fixing. So
that saying, when it rains, it pours.
Yes.
Really spent.
yes, yeah. Any questions about that?
No, I'm just glad I don't have your job.
June and July board meetings. So the legislature is still in session, well past the 100th day. I don't even know if that they may be, I think there's some behind the scenes work going on to work on a budget, but we do not anticipate that we will have budget spreadsheet available to have a good proposed budget for you by the June 7th board meeting. So what we'd like to ask is for a June 26th board meeting, which would be in addition to the June 7th.
Okay.
June 26th, it would just be to present the proposed budget. Now,
Is that a normal time?
that's up to you guys. We'll be working, so that's really up to you guys. You need to give us some guidance on that.
Would it be easier middle of the day, do you think, than the evening? We've done that before, I remember, right after
Right,
lunch.
right.
We can figure that out.
Like 1 o'clock, 1:30?
Yeah, and so on top of that, we need at least 15 days between the proposed budget and the adopted budget. So we'd like to move the regular July meeting. We're not gonna have an extra. This would be actually moving the regular July meeting to July 13th. Yes. So that gives us the 15 days necessary between the proposed budget, and it's a few extra days, but between the proposed budget and the adopted budget to get that taken care of. So wanted to make sure that those dates work with you guys, and you guys as a group can discuss and come up with a time.
So we're June 7th and June 26th up right now.
June 7th at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
June 26th at a time to be determined in the next few minutes.
Okay.
And then July 13th will be at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then our July 10th meeting is canceled. That's being moved to July 13th.
I vote for an early meeting on the 26th.
I'm gonna ask for,
Yeah.
can it be about 2:30, because I worked at 2 o'clock?
Could we make it like 3 or 3:30?
That'd be fine
Okay.
too. I think I'll probably be on the phone.
Okay. And it should be, just like I say, it might be a short personnel report and just an adopted budget that you've already seen on July 26th that can have no changes. There will be an adjacent ways vote as well.
Are you guys good for the 26th? Let's say.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm putting it in.
Did you say 3:30?
I have a meeting till 3,
Oh, okay.
but it's across the street, so.
Want to make it 4, so make sure. Okay.
3:30?
Yeah, let's do 3:30.
Three
That works
thirty
for
on
everyone.
July 3rd.
No.
26.
No,
June 26th.
Yeah, back to the June one, yeah. 26. And that is 3:30, what, 3 or 3:30?
3:30.
3:30, okay.
And I'm guessing someone's gonna send out a reminder.
Boy, I know who that someone is.
That is a Monday, I believe.
It is.
June 26th is a Monday, yeah. 3:30 is what we decided.
Okay. So 26, 3:30, and then in July.
The 10th is moving to the 13th.
Regular time.
Same time, yeah.
So,
And on the calendar down below, I have the dates, although I have the meeting time on June 26th is 5, that's changing to 3:30. But the 13th will remain at that 5 p.m. time.
Okay. That's wonderful. Call them just like that.
All right, so it sounds like we got that set. Track and field state champions. We had our track and field meet. We had 3 state champions. I won't say the track had anything to do with it, but you never know. We had a 300 boys 300 meter hurdle state champion, and that was Brody Ryan. We also had a girls javelin state champion, Donica McDonald. And we had a girls 400 meter dash state champion, Danielle Graham. And I want to say it was her first time running sub 60 seconds, sub 1 minute. And she was first time in the season. So she really stepped up to get that win. And then she also got a 3rd place in the 800. And then Jacqueline Ocampo got a 4th place in the 100 meters. So, and we had several others that actually scored points, which is top 8 in their event. So really outstanding showing on the track and field state championship this past weekend.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
That is really awesome.
And then on last Wednesday, this is one of my favorite things to do throughout the year. We had our Million Word Challenge banquet, and we honored 60 kids for the Million Word Challenge. We had, and it was a little bit new this year for the territorial kids. We honored them if they read over 50,000. We had a couple kids, 1st and 2nd graders, read over 100,000 words. So we're just trying to get them in the process of enjoying that reading and that kind of thing. Our number 1 reader was from the high school. Her name is Alexis Ray. She read 7,817,000 words. A typical novel is between 70 and 100,000 words. So she read the equivalent of 70 novels.
She had a book in her hand all the time.
Yes. It's amazing. So what we did on Wednesday is the families came, we had dinner. We recognized those kids and they had a chance to come up on the stage. We gave them Amazon cards. If they got $1 million, they got $25, I think. And then for every million after that, they got $10 in Amazon cards. And so they got their Amazon cards. They also got a poster. And these are some of the examples of what the posters, these are kind of several years ago, but I like the ukulele, but I love to read, that kind of stuff. So they got a personalized poster that Cheyenne Wilson did. She did a fantastic job in organizing the event. So I want to give some kudos out to Cheyenne, who's Cindy's administrative assistant. So it came off really well. We fed everybody. Everyone got fed. We got awarded everybody. And there wasn't a whole lot of downtime, so that was nice. And then the winner or the highest reader at each school will get a Amazon Kindle. The highest reader gets a larger Kindle, a tablet. And then for every 1 million words that you read, you get 1 entry, or each student read, they get 1 entry into a drawing for another Kindle at their site. So even though you may not have been the highest reader, there's a possibility of getting that Kindle tablet. So it was really neat. It worked out really well. A good way of recognizing those kids that like to read. And I was one of those kids when I was growing up. I'd hang out in the library at lunchtime and just read all the time. So I know what that is. We have next Wednesday, we have the awards night coming up in 2 days at the high school. We'll be giving away those $50,000 in scholarships from the Education Foundation and all the university scholarships and all the other organizations that give out their scholarships. May 23rd is our last day of school. We also have a district recognition at 2:00 for those that would like to attend. That's where we recognize the retirees and those that have been here 5, 10, 15, 20, and we have a 25, and we have a 30 also.
I just know we recognize them. 30, 35.
Yeah. So we have we're doing that as an ice cream socials. You come and have an ice cream sundae if you'd like. Graduations on that Wednesday. This is the one event that you're all expected to go to as long as you can. Districts close Memorial Day. On the 7th, we have our governing board meeting at 5:00, which is the normal time. On the 26th, we have our special board meeting at 3:30. We have June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. We'll be having a lunch that Dr. Moody will be smoking, we think, pork butt and having a pork sandwich lunch. If you're welcome to come and hang out with all the 12-month people that we celebrate the end of this fiscal year. And then on July 13th will be our change of date for our July meeting.
What time is the pork butt smoke?
About noon.
Around noon?
Yeah.
Takes 35 hours.
And where's it?
It's going to be at the high school. We typically do it like outside the culinary arts room.
We said the
What's
magic word food.
Yes. Dr. Moody's going to smoke some meat for us. And then we'll buy some, typically what happens is we normally go out to restaurants and have them bring in different plates for people. We're just going to have a little buffet with the coleslaw and potato salad and Hawaiian rolls and barbecue pork and everything else. So a little bit different this year.
Perfect.
And that's my report unless there's any questions.
Over here. You guys? All right, thank you. Item 6F1 is our financial reports for April 30th. Thank you.
Okay, Madam President, members of the board, a quick look at the month end April 30th, year to date. Budget 18 million in our operating account, expenditures 13,900,000. Percent of the year gone, 83% of the budget spent, 77%. So we're keeping that 7%. I guess you could call it lagging indicator. We like it when we haven't overspent as a percentage of the year. Same with our capital fund. And we are increasing the capital fund tonight with this last budget revision, putting that $608,000. We'll talk about that, which takes the capital budget to almost 3 million and spent the 1.7, so 55% of that spent. Now we do have several more encumbrances. I'm just doing this on an expenditure basis, but those are both good indicators. Revenue, I'd like to give you on the second report here. Revenue year to date, 22.5 million. Expenses year to date, 22.3. A lot of that is one-time money from grants and different things, but it's still a positive trend that our revenue year to date is a couple $100,000 ahead of our expense year to date. As far as the cash funds, as far as any other reports with month-end cash, 5.9 million goes forward to the start of the May month. Any questions on the financial report? Month-end April?
Looks what we
Ladies?
expect.
Gentlemen, questions? All right, thank you.
You.
Student activity fund report.
I see some activity there in the line for the main one, there are two of them that I circled here. If you look at the golf club, I know we have a large event planned at that's anyone here from the high school?
Yeah, the golf club's got the 8,000.
Yeah, the 8,400, and they get sponsorships and they have reservations and then they make a little money, and that's the $8,400 there. It's encumbered right now. I think that takes place in June.
I think it's already taken place, isn't it? I believe it's already taken
Maybe
place.
it took place just one of these current weekends.
Yeah, more in the past couple weeks, yeah.
And they're still got a healthy balance even after.
Mhm.
And then the other one down there that they just never stopped is the high school student council. Not a lot encumbered, but you see the 24,000 year to date. Just about an activity a month.
Okay.
And so that's the two leaders right now. Any questions on that? I can get back to you if you have a line item you want information on.
Ladies? All right, thank you very much.
Oh, in black and white.
Items 7A through J are consent agenda.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
And a second. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, item 8A, position transfer and increase request. Who wants to do
So this is actually a request from Cindy, who's out in Texas. Her daughter is graduating from college and she's moving daughter's fiance out from Texas. So she asked me to kind of talk about this a little bit. We currently have a quarter-time paraprofessional at the high school that supports our English language learners. You added a paraprofessional, I believe, an additional paraprofessional to support that. She would like to see that quarter position move to Del Rio to support Mrs. Moody, who's our ELL teacher over at Del Rio, and then increase that from a quarter to a half using ESSER 3 funds.
But at Del Rio.
At Del Rio. So it's a quarter at the high school now, it'd go to a halftime FTE at Del Rio. That additional halftime or quarter would be paid for using ESSER funds.
Sounds good to me. Everybody okay with that?
On this one, any questions?
I'll make the motion for the approval of the position which is necessary to help students reach English language development goals.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Personnel report.
There is a supplement, so please make sure you refer to the supplement. It's not a whole lot on the supplement, only 4 this time. We have 3 new certified staff members, 1 classified, 2 classified subs, 10 resignations. We did have a staff member pass away, and I think you were all notified about that. So keep his family in your thoughts and prayers if you would. We have 5 certified changes, 3 classified changes, and 169 timesheets.
And how are we looking as far as next year, teacher-wise? Are we looking pretty good?
We met on Tuesday of last week, and we still have some significant positions. I know that the high school is trying to hire 1 international teacher, I believe, for science.
The middle school is.
Middle schools, thank you.
Thank you. I've offered a position to a gal from the Philippines, and I just sent out 16 emails before I came here looking to the Philippines, looking for a special ed teacher.
Right, so it's getting to the point that we need to maybe look at the international teachers again. We've had fairly good luck with the ones that we've had. The problem, if we don't do it now, we can't wait last minute because of the visa issues. Right now we may be borderline on getting them here in time for school to start. So, and especially the H-1B, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. But the J-1 visas, which are the exchange visas, we have lists that come from companies that the teachers already vetted and everything else who are working on that. But we still have some openings, and we are working on that. On that list, does anyone remember on that list how many there were total? Because you have how many teachers?
I have 2 extended resource and 1 resource teacher.
And how about Julie? How many are at the middle school openings?
Openings? Now I just have my extended resource, and I will have that filled by the end of the week.
And Brandy?
I'm fully staffed minus my counseling position.
Okay. And then the high school has more, but the high school had several application or several interviews that they were going to go through last week. So I really don't know where they're at position wise.
Sounds good though. I mean, have people.
We do have what's weird is some of the positions that you might think would be easy to fill, like PE and social studies, which historically have had lots of applicants, has been very difficult to fill. So on top of the historically difficult to fill, everything's difficult to fill now. Yeah. Mr. Vogel, you were going to make a statement.
I wonder if at the next board meeting we could have a retention rate report.
We can.
Thank you.
Okay, if everybody's good, I'll make the motion for the approval of the personnel report with the supplement.
A second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, item 9A is our district expenditure budget revision number 3. We need to approve that.
Very good. So number 3, you should have, we hope you have, I've got a copy here if you don't, the actual budget. Go to page 7 of the actual budget, you see a couple columns. And I mentioned earlier that the capital budget is increasing with the transfer. You may have this sheet, yeah, it's a vertical.
Oh,
column.
got it. Sorry.
A little 7 down in the corner. If you look across that upper right corner, you see that 608, 716.
Mhm.
That's money that we are entitled to based on our student count. And then we have options. Column A is everything that goes into our operating budget. We could leave that 608,000 in our operating budget side and put a 0 there in column B. And then the operating budget would be 17,700,000. Or we could transfer it over. Again, the thought is to build some funds there for next year when some of the COVID returnees that are employees that are outside of ESSER funds come back to the district. So last year we put over 700,000 into capital from our operating fund, and this year you see we're transferring 608 right there. If you follow down in the A column, you see the 18,075,056. That's our number. And this is just a little confusing. You see 1,863,000 for capital. Well, if you flip the page to page 8, you see that that doesn't include last year's carryover. We really like carryover. We really like that, and we can bring that forward. If you go to page 8, you see that amount of carry forward, that 1,086,000. You add that on top of the number on page 7, then you get the 2.9 million for this year's ending budget in capital. And then the legislature has just seen some benefits of loosening the restrictions. As long as we meet all our obligations, we can transfer between those funds. One thing that's a little bit annoying to me with Transwestern Utilities, we came to you back in March, the March meeting, and I said, please let's revise the budget for the second time. We did it at the October meeting, and then we did it again in March. And if you look back on page 7, you see this reason that we did that. Line 8G, actually 8H, excessive property tax value assessment. We put that on there because we know we owe them some funds back. I was hopeful when we revised in March, they would catch this and fund it for us the way we wanted. And you see the sheet that they work from, and it's called this Budge 25 sheet. I know you've got it. I've got it right here. This little sheet, it hasn't been updated yet. So they know to do it. And I've got folks at Yavapai County Treasurer's Office that are working on this with the state. And then once this becomes a 143 in their column and a 143 in our column, the difference goes to 0, and then we get that added. So when we paid that back to Transwestern Utility, we're funded from the state. So we're hold harmless. We wrote a check back in February 27th to Yavapai County Treasurer, but the state kind of moved slowly, the Department of School Finance. So it's taken a while to get that back in our budget.
So Donna, are you saying the whole Transwestern payback is the bottom line has not been decided, is still being adjusted?
I believe it's finalized. That's what I was told. Sheen Lee is the person at School Finance.
Okay, so we're just doing now the back and forth, you know, in other words, to get them all together what they're gonna get back.
And this little sheet just shows what we think, and then we put down our numbers in the middle column here, and then what the Department of Education thinks on the left, this Budge 25 report. So we want all the differences to be 0.
Right.
Well, I'm maybe just bold. I thought we'll do it in March. We'll give this to them and they'll see it, and then they'll get it fixed in April. Well, they didn't get it. It'll be fixed in June. When I bring this back for the June, when we propose for next year, you'll probably see one of these with it correct. It won't cost.
Yeah, it's still income out from there, income in from the state, right?
Should be a match. So the only two things then that are really significant then is that we will receive this 143,000 and the transfer of the 608,000 from M&O to capital, and then we can move it back as
we need it.
Mike, do you have any questions or comments? Ladies?
No, I just have a question when I do this. Do I need to say this? Because it doesn't really say like approval of or anything, just read that.
So instead of a line, just say approve.
Approve, okay. I'll make a motion to approve Chino Valley Unified School District number 51 budget factors with Arizona Department of Education School Finance Unit.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
2023-24 classroom site fund budget. Mr. Schulman.
So we talked a little bit about this when we approved the baseline, but salaries and the salary schedule for teachers. The idea was teachers, the base salary will be 37,000 starting. And then on top of that, classroom site fund, and talking with Mr. Livingston, we have enough in the classroom site fund to go from 11,000, which was paid last year, to 13,000 this year, 37,000, 13,000, hit kind of the magic number for starting teachers at $50,000. So this is just approving paying out $13,000. It'd be paid out actually over 5 different times. When they show up, the first pay is $1,000. And then it's $3,000 right before every break, basically, right before spring, fall break, Christmas break, spring break, and the end of the school year. They would get $3,000. That last payment, it will then also include the performance-based portion. And there'll be another agenda item that comes to you that Cindy has to go through a process that's required in statute to get that performance plan approved by staff, ultimately approved by you, but the amounts won't change. It's just how we will pay that last payout on the performance-based portion. I think this year it's 5% is what we did, which worked out to be $550 or something like that.
Fantastic. Any comments or questions on this side of the room?
No.
Mike, you look like you're thinking.
Nope.
How
That's a
about
good
you?
thing.
I'm a good actor.
Ladies, any questions?
I think it's a good idea.
Fantastic. So I'll entertain a motion to approve action 9B agenda item.
I'll approve, yeah, I'll send a motion to approve this.
Okay. Can, just right here, just read this little part.
Oh, approve a 13,000 classroom site fund allocation to all eligible staff, 1,000 payment in August, and 3,000 quarterly payments.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay,
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, Cindy.
It's okay. Item 9C, we're going to talk about teacherages, policies and regulations.
So this is not a voting item. This is to get some input from you all. The district will become a landlord of 10 units. And so we need to come up with some policies and regulations to address the tenants. Now, you may not think about this, but we already are a landlord, the district is. We have a teacherage basically on the farm. We have a double wide trailer. And so it's a little bit different because he doesn't pay rent. He's kind of doing the district a favor by managing the farm, being on, so it's a little bit different, but we still have some rules that he has to follow. And so couple things. One is occupancy. So these are basically 370 square feet or so, just over 19 feet square. When you do interior space, 370 people or 370 square feet. So the occupancy that I'm proposing is either 2 adults or an adult and 2 minor children, because I can see maybe a single parent who needs to get on their feet. They're coming to Chino Valley, at least giving them a break by putting them in the teacherage, and an adult and 2 minor children could probably fit in there. It'd be tight, but still they could, survive a little while.
John, excuse me, that's the one question I had going through this. I can understand 1 or 2 adults, but where would the children, if you had a parent and 2 children living there, 1 or 2 children, where would they sleep?
That's for them to decide. Basically, there's 2 sides to if you look at the floor plan, there's a bathroom and a kitchen. And then on the other side, there's a living area divided by like a credenza or a short bookcase that you kind of put the TV on and a swivel. And then another area. If you're a single parent, you're going to make do with the space you have. You may have the kids on one side and maybe it's a fold-up bed, maybe it's a whatever, but
So
the
you
furniture's
just
gonna be theirs.
Put a bed in the space wherever it fits is what you're saying?
The furniture is theirs, it's their space to do as they please.
Mhm. Wow.
But I really think that we need to make that, and two teenage kids may be a little bit much, but if you're talking with a single parent with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, they're gonna make do. And maybe it's 2 twin beds that they put on one side, and the parent sleeps in one twin bed, and maybe both kids for all I know, I don't know, but bunk beds. So they have, I think there's some flexibility that they could provide, but that's not necessarily for us to decide on what what they're going to do inside. I think it is we need to come up with a kind of a limit on what's reasonable. We don't want 5 kids living in there with the parent, but one. So if you want to change it to 2 people, period, that's what this discussion is for. So.
I definitely think that it's fair to give somebody the option if they have a single parent to have 2 children.
If they need a place to
Yeah,
live,
they need
they're
a place
going
to
to make
live.
it work.
Yeah, they're gonna make it work. I mean, I was a single parent for a long time. My kids slept in the same bed with me.
Yeah.
So we make it work.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying I was against it. I just didn't understand how it would fit without sleeping rooms as such.
Yeah, and I think to Annie's point, that people in that situation, they're going to make it work.
They'll just be glad to have a roof over their head.
There's that. Yeah.
So they'll be providing their own furniture. We won't be providing the furniture, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The only thing that's going to be provided is the little bookcase separating thing, which is actually with the new plan wasn't there in the original plan. So that's kind of nice. So that's the only, and that's going to be kind of built in.
Appliances?
All the appliances will be there: refrigerator, dishwasher, washer dryer combo unit, and range. Yeah. So appliances are all provided, but no bed, no desk, no living area or living furniture.
Okay.
So if there's 2 adults, or one adult has to obviously work for the school district. If there's a second adult, we're going to ask them to either have an IVP card or to pay for, and we can do it here, a background check. And the reason is I don't necessarily want somebody that, a DUI doesn't bother me, but some kind of, if there's a predator, have some kind of sexual thing going on, that would not be a good thing to have them on our campus within eyeshot of kids. So that's the reason for that. And this was a question that I brought to DLT. Cindy Thomas and I had some discussion about this, is how this is supposed to be transitional housing. How long is transitional? What does that mean? 1 year, 2 years? I would think no more than 3 years. But in DLT, we talked about 2 years. We promised 1 and we reevaluate. Maybe you can up for another 1. Is 2 years long enough for somebody to come to the area and get on their feet? This is meant as a retention and recruitment tool. But if we fill these up with people that are there long-term, we lose that recruitment tool option.
Could we, well, I mean, I like that it says on a case-by-case basis, because there might be somebody that we want that could be 3 years. Could
Mhm.
that still be an option? It would just come to the board?
Um,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just shooting it out there. Just
So
so
that's
reevaluate
staff
this year.
discussion.
That-
Staff decision.
we do 2. There's the option for 3rd, not necessarily at the board level, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's staff
at the superintendent level.
Okay.
And I say that as a I'm not going to have to deal with this, but the next thing kind of provides some separation. The superintendent is not going to be running the housing program. It's going to be the HR director. So there's some separation between the person that's kind of running things and the superintendent, and they can take that to the superintendent and provide that appeal or whatever. But it's 2 years
I think
too
two-
short, too long?
I think it's okay. I think at 1, you're not going to have retention at all. If this is what this
And
is.
if newly moved into town, you don't have the income yet.
Right.
Yeah, 2 years makes a lot of sense. And we've got to make sure the standards do not allow an extension beyond the 3rd year. Otherwise, you lose the whole idea of the project.
Yeah, so it's not clear to me what the expected transition to is. Transition to what?
To
A
figuring
home?
out their own
Whatever.
house, their own house.
Whatever, well, 10 years for a down payment to save up.
Right.
I mean,
10 years for a
what,
house to come
you
up
know,
in here.
purchase of a home, I don't know that 2 years is gonna be that.
Well, probably
Provide-
more like rental,
We're not providing.
So
another-
rental to,
any rental apartment, house, whatever.
so,
You know, just, I think what
So-
they're doing now, you know, when people coming into town, they have to find either something they can afford to buy or to rent. And this just gives them an extra 2 years to find that.
We're not holding them to the 2 years. If they found something,
It would be a year by year lease
okay,
from July 1 to June 30th.
and can they break that lease during the year?
That's a good point. They should
Um,
be able to.
I would have some concerns about that, just because who are we gonna put in there? You know, it's a financial thing. We're using that rent to help pay, not the entirety, but help pay off the financing that we have.
And
Along with
while
the-
I understand that, and
Uh-huh.
absolutely agree, the availability of housing in our area is well, none. So I
Right.
think they're going to have to
Actually,
jump at
Saul has-
whatever
Uh-huh.
opportunity comes.
And John,
to
just,
them.
just think, there may be many other teachers who are struggling with the rent they are paying.
Mhm.
They would love to move in even middle year.
I think you can have a waiting list.
Yeah.
I do. Can I talk?
Please.
absolutely, we need some, good
Randy
questions.
told me no, I couldn't talk.
I tried, sorry.
That's what I think, you know, you're gonna have a wait list. So what if someone's in there for half a year and they find another rental that's big enough for their family or that they can afford? You could put another couple in there, so.
Or it could even be contingent upon filling the vacancy.
Yeah, if we can fill it.
Or could they sublease it to someone else until that lease?
I think we wanna stay away from subleasing. I think the district needs to be the primary
Yeah.
lesser.
So we
I
know
just
who's
think we
in
need to
there.
make sure the lease is cancelable with a certain amount of, notice. But boy, I would sure, just like Julie said, there's gotta be, how many people that would love to move into this that are struggling right now with wherever they are?
And if a 3-bedroom home comes available in the community and I can afford it, I'd like to be able to lease that and not be stuck to this and wait 6 months and that's no longer available.
So month to month lease is sort of what we're talking about.
Okay,
Well, they sign
That
an
they- that they
annual
don't-
lease,
It should be
cancelable
a year
with 30 days notice or something like that.
Because
yeah, a 1-year lease that is a 30-day out or something
Yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Could you charge a little bit more for a month to month lease? And if they agreed to sign a year lease, that's a little bit lesser of a rent? Can you?
I just don't think we worry about that. I think it's just the same rent for everybody, because somebody may get into a year-long lease and then not realize, they may find a significant other, they, you just never know. We'd hate to keep them in that lease.
Keep it simple to begin with.
Yeah.
And I have another thing to say.
I tried.
Would it be better to do a 3-year with them? Allow them to be there 3 years, because then they'd be tenure and maybe have more of a buy-in in the district. And you may be able to retain them instead of them being there 2 years and then moving on to another district.
There still is the option of that third year. It's just not necessarily guaranteed.
Right, the way John's got it.
And as we all know, there may be teachers that we don't necessarily want for that third year.
Yes,
So
I
the
do
way
know that.
things are going with finding teachers in this rural area, we are really looking a lot in this whole Tri-City area of a lot of teachers from the Philippines, international teachers. And they're probably not going to be looking outside of these homes for anything, and they could come for 3 years. And I have a feeling it's gonna grow and grow and grow with international teachers. We're really having a severe shortage.
Do we like 3 years over 2?
I think
like
the
three
base,
of
the
them.
base
the
2
same
with an
case
added third, depending on the circumstances,
Yeah.
sure makes sense to me.
I like case by case. Randy's evaluate it. Like you said, what if somebody that you're like, we probably want to go meet.
At least we have the option.
Mhm.
Or if they're not taking care of the property, you know.
Well, I think, because I know that you may not have heard down there because they're talking this direction.
Sorry.
The, Annie likes the 2-year with the 30-year option. And then also, Marcia mentioned what if they're not taking care of the property? May want them to move on, but I think there's some, we'll have, just like any tenant
Yeah.
renter, agreement, there's gonna be some of that language in there.
I saw a house for rent the other day. That's the first time I've seen a for rent sign in front of a place in a long time.
So we can kind of move on to rent.
Okay.
I did an analysis, and when we come back next month and kind of finalize the policies, we have to have you guys come up with a rent amount. I went to rent.com. There were 8 rentals in Chino Valley. There were 0 in Paulden. They were all homes. There was no 1-bedrooms for rent. They were all homes or duplexes, things like that, multi-room. The average rent for what I did was took the rent amount and divided it by the number of bedrooms. And the average was about $700 a month for a room. Now you're renting a house, so there's other things, bigger. You probably have a living room and things like that, not just a bedroom, but to kind of give you an idea. Prescott and Prescott Valley had a lot more. I just took the first 20 in Prescott and Prescott Valley. The average was about $100 cheaper, but if you lived in Prescott or Prescott Valley to get here on a daily basis, you're probably talking over $100 in gasoline alone just to get here. And some of our, if not all of our, international teachers, most do not drive. And so they are relying on, I've taken them home a couple times. We have a fantastic ELL teacher that lives not too far and picks them up in the morning and takes them home at night. Before that was all arranged, they were taking Uber and taxis, which are super expensive. So, they don't necessarily have that ability to travel very far. So, where, to be honest, if you had a bike, you could probably bike anywhere from the teacherage to, well, you could walk to half the schools, but you could probably bike across the highway to Territorial or bike down the road and cut across the highway at Center Street to the high school if you had to. So, anyway, that's kind of what I'm probably going to propose I'm going to propose $550 is the number that I was going to throw out.
And that includes utilities?
No.
No.
The only utility that they have to worry about is electricity. They'll be individually metered units. It will also not include, we think that the internet goes out there. I think that
It's sketchy.
Yeah, but that the district internet goes out. We also have MiFi devices that we can give to staff. However, in both cases, it's filtered. So, I think is ChatGPT filtered on those. I know it is on the district. I don't know. So, there's some things that they just don't have access to. So if they wanted to use their phone for internet or whatever, or if they wanted to get a satellite dish, they could do that. And then there's no telephone service, but not everyone uses their cell phones anyway. So
Is there going to be one well for the whole area?
the district facilities department ran water across the football field. And so there's going to be a fire hydrant on the property along with, the district well that's on that property that provides water already to Del Rio and Heritage will provide water to the teacherage. And then we're putting in a septic system right now. So
What about trash?
Trash we'll have a dumpster that's just part of the district contract.
Okay.
So the only utility will be electricity. There is it's not a mini split, but it's a what?
I think it's the heat pump we talked about.
That, they'll have a air conditioning heating unit in, we're talking 375 square feet. You don't need a whole lot there. So
Those are great.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's we will ask, basically the rent will be taken out of checks twice a month. There's a couple months that they have a third check. They get that, no rent taken out of that third check. So it's gonna be the rent taken out over 24 pays. In addition, there is a refundable, they need to pay first month's rent and a refundable deposit. If they don't have the refundable deposit, we can make arrangements that have that taken out of their check over, say, $50 a month for 11 pays or something like that. So we will work on spreading that refundable deposit over to make it easier. We want it to be easy for these employees to get into the teachers. Mike, you had a question.
So why not $400 a month?
We don't necessarily want to subsidize them getting into this, because then there's some questions. I have some concerns with that. And we have to pay for this. This is not paid off. This is most of it will be, a third of it will be, not most of it. We still have a lease purchase payment that we have to make. And
So in order to make that,
we're not even going to make it at 550. We'll still be pitching in some capital.
If it's full occupancy for 20 years, that's about payback for our $1 million that we're putting in. And then we've got the grant from Yavapai and Coconino counties. So that $1 million to repay, you say $550 a month, and you do that for 20 years, and the full occupancy is about a 20-year payback, so to speak, because we don't have to repay the Yavapai County 500. That's a grant. The $1 million that we're putting in would be, there's language I think that can't necessarily subsidize too much.
Right.
Personal landlord, private deal, we could go down to $300 or $400 a month. But
We need to be careful, give the public funds. We have to, otherwise it could be considered income. I think that some districts get away with it because it's rural and remote. That's like the only place that they can live. If you're, former mayor superintendent lives in Cedar, the only housing that teachers can live in is because it's on the reservation. There's no place for them to live. And so that they don't have to necessarily charge full rates for that, things like that. But we do need to, if you wanted to go down to 400, we try to figure it out. But I think that 550 is below market rate and a reasonable price.
yeah, so I'm doing some calculations here. At 550 on a year's lease, and our minimum salary is 50,000, that's 13% housing costs going to, which is extremely reasonable.
Plus utilities.
I agree.
Yeah.
Electricity's taking, what, $30?
It should be cheap.
I think it's fair.
I do too. I was gonna say that, are you able to raise the rent, say in a year or two?
So what would happen is annually, the superintendent would need to come to this board in May. And I think I put that in somewhere in here. I talk about that. They would have to come to you guys in May to set the rent for the next year. May is important because you have people starting to sign their contracts. They are starting to sign lease agreements for the next year. It's important that they understand what they're getting into at that time frame.
Sorry, I didn't see that.
Moving forward, are we talking about the drugs now?
Yep. So we already have a policy in place, and I included it in here.
Okay.
It's a GBECB, which is on the prior page, that deals with alcohol use by staff members. The policy right now is you can't drink when you're on the job. If you live in teacher housing, you can drink alcohol inside your housing unit. You can't be out on the porch drinking your Bud Lights and that kind of thing, but you can, in the privacy of your own residence, you can enjoy an adult cocktail, right? An adult beverage. I have no issue with that. In talking with our attorney, Mr. Ledbetter, he recommends just no smoking, no vaping, no marijuana. There may be some issues with those that have medical marijuana cards, because marijuana is legal, but no one should be getting a medical marijuana card because you can get marijuana without a card. So there's really no reason to get it. But no, and then no illegal drugs, none of that. You don't necessarily want people smoking inside the units just because of the damage that smoking can do inside. And I am concerned if we have what it looks like when we have people outside smoking on district property.
Like
So
for
they
sure.
gotta be non-smokers.
Or
In
you
order
walk,
to be-
you know,
to be,
I can tell you if you go out right now, between meals, you see people smoking across the street. Or you go down and go to Insurgent and go out onto the patio. But, you know, basically, you can't smoke while you're on property.
Can't smoke on the property.
I mean, I definitely don't think you should be able to smoke on the property, but what about vaping's kind of different? And I mean, it smells like strawberries. I mean, I just don't know how you're gonna be able to regulate.
I think outside with vaping, you're sending the wrong message though. I mean, I truly do. It's the same as cigarettes in my mind.
Yeah.
If Mrs. whomever is out there smoking and her second grader sees her,
Yeah.
but yet she's telling that second grader smoking is bad, don't do it. I think it just sends the wrong message.
And inside, I think that, you know, I don't necessarily want the unit to smell like strawberries when the
Yeah.
person moves out. With the vaping inside. That's really, you know, it's more of a, and I don't know how to describe it. We want these units to be able us to turn around and not have to rehab them
Yeah.
every time in order to rent them to the next person.
And now, like, I completely understand what you're saying, but I'm just trying to like see from like a different person. I'm not a vapor. But I just want, is this your last meeting? I just am trying to be like realistic, because to be honest with you, if I was a teacher, there's a chance I would definitely be drinking and maybe vaping, I don't know. I'm just trying to be like realistic here, that it's a younger generation.
You know, and I think,
Or consuming marijuana, quite frankly.
so.
I think that that's a little bit, that making that exclusionary is a little bit contrary to law and social norms.
But marijuana is not allowed on campus anyway, even though it's legal in.
Neither is alcohol.
Correct.
But
Correct.
that can be done in
They're
the.
the same.
But the thing, you don't smoke your alcohol. That's, I know, you can do that, you can do marijuana different ways.
No, it's true.
Right,
It
I mean,
is
it's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So much.
That's why we're having this discussion, so.
Exactly.
No smoking of any kind, maybe, just not specified.
Yeah, so I'm getting that.
I mean,
Because
They
it
can have all
does,
the
I mean,
edibles
the
they want.
motel rooms don't allow you to smoke in their rooms.
Right.
Because of what, you know, the long-term effect.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to clean them out and, yeah,
And I think most apartments have no smoking now too.
oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, because of
I
all
know.
the damages.
yes, a lot of them do, no smoking.
And a lot of
Because there
renters
is, yeah,
don't
there is
allow
smoke
them.
damage that you just can't get
If
rid
you're
of.
renting a house, they don't allow you to smoke in the house. either.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I just have one more question. I feel like my question is, I believe that in one of the board meetings, you told us that if a person on campus gets caught with marijuana, there wasn't a whole lot you could do because it's legal. Did I make that up?
18.
Oh, no, that's why we are taking,
No,
that's why we're taking aggressive stance
Yeah.
as a district when the
Right.
student does it. It's because the police won't,
Right,
well,
okay, so is it,
and the attorneys won't prosecute.
There is discipline that the district can take against employees that have it.
Right,
okay,
sure.
The policy has not changed regarding marijuana on
Right.
campus.
okay.
What people do outside of the district, we have no control over, but our students, as far as student discipline and employee discipline, there is that with regard to alcohol and marijuana. And of course, illegal drugs are illegal, so that's a good point there. But
Okay, I'm now gonna be devil's advocate because I do not smoke anything. However, I think Mike made a great point. You know, marijuana is legal. Alcohol is legal
Mhm.
also. Do you just say no smoking of marijuana? Those people that eat gummies every night to go to sleep?
Gummies are okay, but no smoking.
I mean, I'm kind of being serious, you know, it's inside the home, no one can smell it, no one can see it. They can't smell or see their alcohol, but we're allowing it.
I can run it past the attorney. Again, he recommended nothing. So his recommended,
That's a curious, to me, I wonder what the rationale is.
right.
It's a curious statement.
And I don't know. I know that he was doing something similar for a hospital that was one of his clients, and the hospital chose not to do anything, but that may be because of health-related issues that they're trying to promote. I don't know if there's any with, you know, marijuana is legal in the state, but for federal rules, it's not legal still. And so I don't know if there's federal school, since we take federal money, we may be subject to some federal rules. I don't know if that's the case, but I can ask. I can clarify that. So,
But
yeah.
what does that look like? I mean, no kidding, really, where you can drink alcohol. and
They're
you
gonna
can
do it whether
eat a
you say
gummy.
they
I
can
mean,
or
really,
can't.
truly, so I think.
well, to that point though, is if it becomes a problem, it provides another mechanism to remove that person from the,
Right.
from
And
the,
I'm talking just edibles.
right.
Yeah.
You know, if they're outside tripping,
Right.
that's,
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
so it impacts people different ways.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It's an intoxication just as alcohol.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Right.
So,
So what I'm hearing, just so that we're all on the same page here, is that absolutely no smoking, no vaping of any kind inside or outside the building on campus. Then I need to get some clarification on the consumption of non-smoking or vaping THC products. And from our attorney. Does that sound right?
Sorry, I have another question really
Uh-huh.
quick. So are these same rules that are in effect here are at the other properties that we have that people live in?
We haven't dealt with that.
Oh, okay.
The only policy that's in place right now is the alcohol use by staff members. And so really they would be subject to the current policy, which says no drugs, no marijuana on campus. So they're subject to that. We are changing rules to be more accommodating for our staff that live in our teacher housing.
Okay.
Now, if we rent to a police officer, they might have a firearm.
Well, we won't, and that could be on a case-by-case basis as well. So, and then also, you know, that was the next thing that Marcia brought up, no firearms. So, yes, sir.
Are we looking then, Superintendent, for a new policy regarding the rental property? And then the board will also have in the contract, both policy and contract that coincide for people that live in these properties?
Likely what's going to happen is we're going to have a generic policy that says that something to the effect, the superintendent will develop guidelines and procedures for the rental of the teacherage property that the district owns. That's probably the policy. Then there'll be a regulation behind that has all these things that we're talking about. That's part of the regulation. It's much easier to change a regulation than it is to change the policy. We can do that in one meeting. So that's probably what it's going to look like.
So the rental agreement will reflect the policy.
And the rental agreement likely is going to be an exhibit. It's in our policy book.
That's what I've seen before on
Yeah.
the reservation district. It was all there in policy. Sure, your rental agreement was part of it, but it came from policy. No
Yep.
favorites, no
Right.
exceptions. That's the policy.
Yep. So the idea is to have this discussion now, to come back in the June first. We can actually do it in 2 board meetings, or June and July, probably. Maybe we do it in June, the first June board meeting and the second June board meeting. They're far enough apart that we can get some input. We've run all this past SEAC. SEAC has had their input on all this. So we've had employee input on it. So, but yeah, it would be something that's board approved, that's part of the policy book, either as a policy, regulation, and or exhibit.
I was going to say,
Sure.
other school districts are going to be looking at us as an example for something like this.
Right, and I can talk to, easily talk to the new superintendent out in Prescott, Mr. Tenney, who is in charge of their project out at Taylor Hicks School, kind of see where they're going with it. And they have a different attorney, So there may be some different guidance that they're being provided, but
And I like that there's no pets allowed.
so no pets except for service animals. And we had this discussion, an emotional support animal is not a service animal.
Oh, I was
Um,
thinking, are you kidding me right now?
And there's
Okay,
two
that's fine.
type, and we had this discussion, Cindy and I, there are two types of service animals. Dogs and what other service animal?
Cat. I don't know. A goat.
A mini pony.
Miniature horses.
Horse.
Those are the, in law, in state statute, there's two allowable service animals. Dogs and miniature horses.
And I have one come in the senior center all the time, just FYI.
Wow, okay.
Somehow they provide some kind of service. An emotional support animal doesn't provide a service. So there is a difference there. And so it has to be a legitimate service animal. We can't ask necessarily what the person's disability is, but we can ask what service does the animal provide.
Oh, wow.
There is not gonna be room in that house for it. I'm
Yeah,
just
right.
predicting
I
that.
think I'm more, my mind's more blown that that's even a thing.
Yeah,
Planes.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
we need to make accommodations for those that do have legitimate service animals. And there's some, you may not think about it. It could be, there's service animals that help diabetics that can actually smell the ketosis that's going on in their breath. There's some that can sense when somebody's going to have a seizure. There's a variety of service that dogs, or typically dogs, can provide. In addition to just the CNI dogs, that's a common one, but there's a lot of other services that are medically necessary that they provide.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Vehicles on the property.
Yes.
Can there only be one vehicle? I don't see.
They actually have two spots.
Okay.
There's, I think, going to be 20 spots. A couple of them are going to be handicapped. We do have a handicapped accessible unit as well, one. And then there's the required number of handicap spots available on site.
Okay, all right.
So the last thing I want to get some input on, how is the housing going to be prioritized amongst what group of people? So we talked about it. So right now I have incoming teachers, international teachers, which typically are incoming at the same time. Then if we can't fill, these are going to get filled up. I don't care how they're going to get filled up. We're not going to have any empties for a long time. Returning teachers and other certified staff, which could be instructional coaches, it could be speech therapists, it could be occupational therapists, psychologists, whatever. Classified instructional staff, paraprofessionals. And then last would be other classified staff, secretaries, bus drivers, things like that.
And they have to be employees of our district.
One person has to be an employee.
Okay.
That's how we-
I think that all looks really great, in my opinion. The incoming teachers, international teachers, I think you're going in the right direction. as
So
far as-
one thing that we had talked, that I've talked to people about is maybe it's incoming and international teachers. And if you're incoming international teachers, maybe you get a little bit more preference than just one or the other. Because they're coming here with no credit. They're coming here with, new to the area, new to the United States, and they may need some additional help to get them.
Probably coming.
So, John, when you say international teachers, that's people who may be in their second year here?
They would be the second after the incoming teachers.
No, that's what I'm saying. So obviously, if it's an incoming international teacher, they qualify under number one anyway.
Right, but they may get a little bit kind of put to the top of the list because they're both. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Because otherwise, by having them number two, they could already be here, having trouble finding housing, and then asked to move
Right.
in after their first year.
Right.
Could we look at possibly doing like a triage assessment of the person coming in? They get, this question's asked, they get ranked 1 through 5.
How many points you get?
No, seriously.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing is, if and we would need to see what's legal, what we can legally use to do that. So I think there's some question there. But, you can't worry about age and gender and the things like that. But maybe a single parent has a little bit more, has a few more points. International teacher has a few more points. An incoming teacher has a few more points, that kind of thing. So
I think that's a good idea.
the other thing is more than 30 miles away from Chino Valley. So if you live, that maybe they get more points if you're coming from outside the area. Because if you already live here, you have a place here already.
Right.
So if you're coming from outside the area, you may not have a place already, and you may get a few more points as part of that triage.
Wouldn't that fall under the incoming teachers anyway, though?
But if you have an incoming teacher from Humboldt and an incoming teacher from Phoenix, there's a difference.
Why? They still need the housing here.
But the one from Humboldt may already live in a house in Prescott Valley.
Oh, okay, you think he may be within cumulative distance already?
Well, that we could say 30 miles covers most of the Tri-City area.
Oh, okay. So I see your point there. Beyond an existing commuting distance.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're adding a whole tier of possible points.
Well, I think that kind of goes to what Cindy was saying, that maybe they get 5 points for being a incoming teacher. They get 5 points for international. They get 5 if they're single parent. They get whatever.
Sure.
So it's something that we would have to come up with.
Yeah.
And those that have 25 first priority.
Right.
24.
Yeah. Well, whoever ranks, just
Exactly.
go down the order.
Correct.
That's a great idea.
Okay, I can come up with that by next time. And again, this is something that I'd like to do, have this ironed out no later by the July board meeting. They're telling us, they've said end of July is when they are gonna be ready. I wouldn't bet money on it, but.
A little bit.
But that's what they're telling us.
Here's the thought or a question. Our international teachers are really temporary.
Correct.
Yeah, put them up high in the priority list for being temporary.
Well, what is temporary? They could be here 5 years.
That's temporary. That's not retaining.
It's probably.
And retaining. So incoming teachers that aren't international, returning teachers. I'm wondering if this first time around, we ought to give some priority to returning teachers.
I can tell you that.
Who are really struggling and may not even get an opportunity.
Oh, so on that, I'm gonna tell you is I've already heard negative things from teachers about us doing the housing. So a teacher approached me and they're like, well, they're not paying my rent or my mortgage, and they had a horrible attitude about us doing this. And so I just think if we do, I think that we need to leave this open. Or I don't think it needs to be for returning teachers. I feel like we should start with teachers that we're trying to bring into the district first. And then if maybe put it down the line. But I'm just saying, we're not giving the opportunity. This isn't an opportunity for every teacher in our district. And like I said, I've already heard some negative things from teachers about us doing this. And so our whole purpose of this is to bring new teachers to our district.
But I
Well,
think that
recruitment and retention.
Right.
Retention.
Retention is a big one, and recruitment.
And maybe the attitude would change a little bit if somebody that was returning got an opportunity. I mean.
I think the
I'm just
negative teachers
throwing it out.
probably already have a home.
Yeah, they
You know,
do.
They
They do.
do. They're just bitter because
Yes.
they're not going to be
Yes,
affected.
yes, that's exactly right.
And I've got to guess, we're going to have plenty of people applying for these. We're not going to have to worry about adding categories of
Yeah.
potential tenants.
Agreed.
Well, and the returning teachers and other certified staff's already on here.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like we're adding it, but it would be part of the triage. Maybe that's a weighted area also.
Yeah.
So, I anticipate that our first cohort of renters are going to be all teachers that we already have. Because they will not be ready to promise to, in my mind, I don't think, they're not going to be ready in time for somebody that's going to move here to be able to move into it before they start work. It's just, I don't think that the construction timeline is going to work there. So it's going to be people that have already started working for us. Now that it could be they've only worked for us for a couple weeks, and they're looking for something, but it's not going to be ready in time for a brand new teacher to come in when they report the 20
Of July.
Yeah, the 20th of July or something like that.
26th of July, 26th of July.
Oh, no, it's before that. I think the new teachers come back like the 26th, or the returning teachers come back.
These are going to be ready when?
They've said the contractor said the end of July. I'm not, that's, I think, optimistic.
That'll be the first time.
Yeah.
That's ever happened.
So
people that are going to come to us are going to have to find some place to live at least temporarily. The timing just did not, would have been great to do it earlier. It just didn't, the timing didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh.
So
You
you're gonna
might
come up-
want to try to help with that.
In what way?
Go out and find some people who are willing to take someone in for a month. Because
Which is what's happening now.
people who are, they're going to be signing, otherwise they're going to be signing 1-year leases. Or month to month, possibly.
Well, it could,
So who's going to end up filling these? They're not even going to be ready for anybody, any teacher that we have. They're not gonna be ready
that's
at the
not
beginning.
accurate. I can tell you that I've already had existing teachers reach out to me, want to live in these.
Oh, well, okay, that was my point.
Yeah, if they're paying
Earlier.
existing rent, that's more than they can afford.
Yeah,
This is a
right.
natural for them.
So what you're saying by by a condition that is out of our control, number 3, the third priority is going to go to the top.
I'd say probably number 2 to start. The international
They're gonna
teachers,
be-
the international teachers have expressed interest.
Yeah, sure.
We have
So they're
a,
gonna have, and they're gonna need a temporary.
correct. We have a current, because they're going to be in their third year. So the maximum they could even be with us is 5. So they're, if they were in there, the max they could be with the district is 3 more for most of them. There's a few there's one at least that's on H-1B, but the others are all J1. They're limited from 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, right.
I have a new teacher who is a current, well, she's a current staff member, but becoming a classroom teacher that lives in Ashford. That would love to, that has approached us about that. So I think that I see the first, the first group are going to be those that may not be just strict, they're going to be our employees. And, to your point, we may have a new teacher come into the area that is going to live with a friend. They see this open up and boom, they can get in because of the timing in August or whatever. So I don't think we'll have a problem filling these up with either new to the district that have already here, but they're already, it's not going to happen. And the timing's, I don't think, going to work out for them to move from wherever they're moving right into these units. And that's unfortunate. I wish that was the case. It was at the high school. We had an applicant for a job at the high school. One of the questions they asked at the end was, when is your housing going to be ready?
Right. Are we getting any out-of-state applicants by chance? That's sort of more just curious.
That would be from you guys.
What was the
Any
question?
out-of-state applicants?
No, I do, coming from Oregon, but they won't be using
I
that.
did get an Oregon.
Yeah, I have one.
Forgot.
I have one, but they'll be moving to Humboldt. Prescott Valley.
They have family here in Prescott.
One of our administrators is moving to Prescott Valley because they can't afford anything in Chino. And they were lucky to get something in Prescott Valley.
No kidding. Yeah.
This is an important discussion, and I'm glad that we've taken as much time as we could, but.
So,
have we-
I
I'm just, do you have anything else, Mike?
There's been some basketball games that are on TV starting at 7 o'clock. Oh, okay.
we have executive session out of this, after this, we're not getting out of here yet.
All right, let's move it along.
So,
President.
what I'll do is I'm gonna come up with some preliminary, some draft policies.
Yeah.
And regulations that we can have further discussion on at the next board meeting.
Okay.
And then that's allowed to have changes before approval, or we can come back, look at it again and then approve it. So we're in good shape.
Thank you guys for that lively discussion. Item 9D is our submission of proposed issues for consideration for the 2023 political agenda for ASBA. You have it, okay, you have that one. Karen went ahead and made copies of the ones that we've been, or that has been the topic for the last couple of years for us. Might just be easier if we just look at them and see if those are ones that we still want to prioritize.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm sorry, Mr. Scholl, I've taken your.
No, you're doing great. Just continue. You're
We
doing
might want to
fantastic.
just keep looking at them and see if those are still our priorities, you know.
This Chinese menu, as I say every year, just bugs the dickens out of me. I like what we did last year personally. I think it reflects our consistent feeling, if anybody ever pays attention
And I think
to
that
us.
was one of the things that I wanted to get across too, is that consistency. If we keep asking for them,
Exactly.
one of these days they have to say
Pay
yes.
attention.
You would think.
I think there's a good chance, and I think we need to continue, but I think there's a good chance of the aggregate expenditure limit being taken care of earlier rather than later, and potentially a long-term fix. So I've heard that from our lobbyists, and so I think it's important to keep that on there because we want to keep that pressure going.
For sure. Mike, what do you think? Are you good with the way that it is?
Yeah, I remember this from last year. Yeah.
You're good?
And again, there's
Just,
other options that if anyone wants to, we can explore those. This is not a do all, say all.
And remember that one of you, and I know Mike has done it and Annie has done it,
Oh, yeah. Marcia.
will represent this board at the legislative, I don't remember what the term is.
The legislative caucus.
Session, yeah.
But so after the law conference on Saturday, the ASBA members get together and one representative from each school district can belong. You don't have to send somebody, but they can go and represent the district and vote on these items.
I think you would really like it.
I love Manny.
Well, can I make a motion then?
Absolutely. If we're
Yeah,
done discussing. go.
think,
Please.
we need to get
Thank
into
you for
executive
asking.
session, so.
Yes.
I move that we resubmit the same priorities as we did last year, as presented to us by John.
I'll second it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
We need
See you on June
a
7th.
motion to go into executive session.
And with you all, if you want to stay, we're going to go back into motions now, or you can go. We do need to go into executive session. If someone will make the motion.
I'll make a motion for us to go into executive.
Second,
Are we
please.
taking one?
All right.
Okay, go do it.
Annie and Marcia.
Was that
I
Julie's?
wrote that down for you just in case.
Julie.
She's got